something I've learned very painstakingly over the last few years is that like I know when I'm allowed to speak about. I've done this to you actually a few times, right? Where sometimes I'll like send you a very cryptic voice note being like something really important happened. I can't talk to you about it. But like months from now I might circle back and be like, "Oh, this was the moment that I like told you about."
Mm-hmm. A
And so
tease.
what's coming for April, until it has solidified more, I don't want to speak of it. Um I was thinking about this as I went to bed last night, and I almost feel like, because for me, I'm very comfortable with not being attached to things, right? Where I'm just like, if somebody showed up and they're like, I'm going to give you everything you ever wanted, I'm like, cool. And then the next day they're like, never mind. I'm like, cool. Like that's fine. Other people's energy, as soon as like if you tell someone else that someone is going to give you everything they ever wanted, then they get really excited about it. And then they're attached to that idea. And it's like you get that energy all around it. And so I think that that applies to like manifestation. And I'm like, yeah, I can't speak about things until I know that it's time. So anyway, giant cliffhanger. But by next week, I maybe will know where I'm going. Yeah.
Honestly, I respect that. And I hear what you're saying about, I don't know, a past version of me, I think, was a bit open with my manifestations. I was an open book with
Mm-hmm.
everything because I'm like, oh, like this is me. Like, why not share it with the world? However, not everyone is as, let's say, magnanimous as
Mm-hmm.
us. Not even that they have ill will or ill intention towards you, but maybe subconsciously they hear something you're doing and they're like, oh, I wish I could be doing that, or like that type of energy, or like
Or she
they
shouldn't
won't
do that.
really, yeah, exactly. And so, like, without even intending to, or with intending to, like, I'm not gonna pretend to know, um, the energy of that can have an impact on whatever you're manifesting. So I do respect the chosen silence on this front.
Thank
That's
you.
valid.
Yeah, it's funny because I only started actively thinking about this in the last maybe 2 or 3 years, of just kind of what I was sharing and what I wasn't. But I've always been a really like private person. Like especially the first few years that I was like deep on, the spiritual healing journey, whatever, it was like I wouldn't tell anyone anything. I would actually get, this is something I had to really work through. I would get like actively angry just inside. I wouldn't express it, but it would feel so painful to me if my dad would ask me like where I was staying. I would be in some like developing country on the other side of the earth. No one even knows. I'm basically texting my family on the runway, being like, by the way, I'm going to like wherever. And they're like, okay. And my dad would just be like, can you just share where you're staying? Because he loves me. It's not like he was going to show up and do anything, right? But there was like this thing in me that was like so, it felt like someone was like trying to come in and like put a cage around me, even just letting someone know
Mm,
where I was sleeping. And it had
mhm.
nothing to do with my dad and everything to do with the fact that I just didn't want anyone to know anything about me. But looking back, I'm like, I think so much of it was just like trauma patterns and just nobody understands me, that stuff. But a lot of it too was that I was like, I'm literally no one understands what it is that I'm doing. And so even trying to kind of vocalize it, it was almost this like, yeah, without knowing it, I kind of knew that I was like, I can't even speak about this because I'm still coming to understand it. And bringing other people's energy in is like, it, they definitely don't get it if I hardly get it. So it's just, yeah, it's such a fine
That's
line of
what.
being like, being open hearted and sharing and, being in community. And then also being like, no, but there's some stuff that it's just yours until it's ready.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Actually, is like, did you know what you were doing? Because then it's like that. It becomes this mirror of like the questions they ask. Again, maybe with intention, maybe not. It's like, hmm. it boils your blood because you're like, I'm still trying to figure that out. Like, give me a year, give
Right.
me maybe 3 years, and then ask me
Maybe
again
5.
where I am spending the night, 5 to 10 years, and I'll get back to you.
Talk to me next lifetime, maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm still figuring it out.
Like,
And that's a lifelong endeavor.
so much. It's so hard to explain. And I feel like a lot of my writing almost points to this, but it's that thing where it's like my entire life, I knew exactly what I was doing and I had no idea at the same time, right? It's like I didn't know in the sense that it was like, oh, yes, like I'm building a house and the house will, be made of bricks and it will be painted this color and it will like whatever. Don't paint brick, actually. If it's made of brick, just let it be brick. That's something that we've got to move away from as a
Side
society,
note.
strong
Hmm.
feelings. Um, but but it was like each individual brick that I picked up, I was like, I know that I need to pick this brick up and set it down. I have no idea what the larger thing is, but like as surely as I need to breathe, I know that this next thing is the thing that I need to do. Even if all of the voices in my head are actually screaming, like, this doesn't make any sense. And my hands are just kind of like, I don't know. And I'm just like setting bricks down, right? But it was, and I think that's where part of this talking about it was so hard too, is because I'm like, by all logical purposes, everything I'm doing is insane. And so I know that, and the voices in my head know that. And so as soon as I try to say that to an outside person, their logic voices and and I'm like, I can't explain it, but there's some bigger voice in me that is screaming, sometimes whispering, just like, okay, but this is what you've got to do, and it all makes sense eventually. And it's like, okay, but when?